It
Get
does.
report on this guy. Okay. Morning all. We don't have a hefty agenda today. I think we were mostly thinking a final check-in on the Build Back Better application that technically will be due next Tuesday, the 19th, and UNH will be submitting that. But realistically, as we are winding this down, the rest of our involvement outside of UNH should hopefully be wrapping up in the next couple days. So we wanted to leave time to touch base on anything that we need to talk about for that. And then as time allows, we can chat about whatever else you have on your mind towards the end. So you should all have received an email from me last week with 3 things attached. One was a 2-page document that was just a short version of the proposal. So if you're working with other partners or you need to go up the ladder in your own organizations about a letter of support or anything like that, that is hopefully an easy resource for all of you to share with people so they can understand the project quickly. Mark, and I don't see Charlie on here, but if there are deficiencies, I'm sorry. But I was trying to pull that together quickly as we were getting the letters back. The other things that were attached to that were a letter from the Seacoast Economic Development stakeholders, as we have done other advocacy things on behalf of the group. So please let me know if you are willing and interested to have your organization and your signature added as a co-signer on that letter. I've only heard from a handful of people on that so far, so I will probably be pestering you all over email again today, just to be sure. Yeah, as usual, I will only be adding your names to a letter like that if I get an explicit yes from you. And then the third thing that was on that letter was a template letter of support if you are willing and able to submit your own letter as well. For people who are willing and able, we would love to be able to give both an individual letter from you and have your name as a co-signer. In part because the letter on behalf of all of us is a little bit more tailored to how we might be able to provide some of that bigger picture local advice and oversight to this project as we go forwards. So I had set a deadline in that email for all of you of close of business today for all of those materials. We probably can continue to accommodate them as we get further into the week, but the later we get, the more things that we have going on and the bigger scramble it's going to be. In part because I'm going to be at NECAPA starting tomorrow afternoon. So if you're sending those over to Mark and Charlie would be the best way.
Yes.
Or I will probably be tying a bow on the letter from Seacoast Economic Development stakeholders, I guess tomorrow at noon, if people need a little bit more time coming back from their weekend.
And SRPC as well, right, James?
Yeah, Jen is working on a separate letter from us, so we'll definitely get you one as well.
Yeah, I guess my plea would be the sooner the better on these letters, as the information contained within them is used in a few different places. So in addition to the kind of core narrative for this proposal, there are a couple of appendices that we need to fill out. One of those is on regional assets. So your quote unquote commitments in these letters are being pulled out of those and highlighted as part of our regional assets. So while typically it's okay to get letters at the very, very last second, in this case, because there are so many moving parts and we have to continually be updating table of partners in a few different places based on what those letters have, anything we can get by Thursday would be amazing.
Okay. That's good to know. like I said, I'll send an email after this reminding folks, and I'll be sure to include that. End of the day, Thursday, Mark?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Warren?
So ideally, I'm just trying to wrap my arms around this because I wasn't here last week and I've been kind of behind. Letter of support from from everybody and cosign on the stakeholder letter, right?
If you're willing and able, we would love it.
No, I'll push for that. I'll push for both. Yeah. So anything else, any other ask for support at this point?
No, I think those are the big ones. I think Mark and Charlie have their own university sort of infrastructure that they are working through with the details of the proposal at this point. So it's probably a little bit too late. Charlie, is that you on the phone?
It is. Thank you.
Okay.
I left my computer at home, so I'm jumping on by phone. Sorry.
No worries. I'm going to rename you so I know who is here.
Thank you.
So it's probably too late for us to have much meaningful input on the narrative itself. So we're sort of in that limbo stage where a letter is really the big work product that we could use from you until we hopefully have some money and need to start standing this up.
James, just a couple of quick comments. First of all, several of you had mentioned in reviewing the draft that we really need to emphasize the regional assets. And I think Mark mentioned this, but there is a separate appendix for regional assets. And so we're finalizing that. So that will be one piece. I'm putting together the equity piece because that's going to be another key component. So if any of you have any, so we're thinking of it as what are the leverage points to infuse diversity, equity, and inclusion into this proposal. And so I think of like REDC has the minority serving microloan program. And so I think there are a lot of leverage points. And if you can think of any of those, please share them with us so we can build that into the equity piece. That would be very helpful.
Charlie, this is Teresa. Is there a possibility with the state moving forward with the broadband? We just learned yesterday morning that the 122 million, is it 122 or 112 million for the state to invest in broadband? Is that a leverage point for you? I know it's an equity play and I don't know how it fits into the proposal, but I think by the state making that investment in 100 up and 100 down throughout the Seacoast region, there's something there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would imagine that resource is targeting those underserved, broadband underserved areas. So we can certainly speak to that. Teresa, can you type up a quick bullet that sort of articulates that just to make sure we get the right language in there?
Sure.
Thank you.
Charlie, I know that we have a climate equity project that we're doing with Dover. That seems like it would have some outputs that, whether it's relationships that we've built or your report with recommendations that could be part of that implementation. So I can work on getting you something on that. It would help to
absolutely
see what you have so far for context. Would you be able to send that appendix over?
For the equity one?
Yeah.
Once I have a spare computer, I'll start typing that up and I'll send it out, or I'll put it in the SharePoint drive.
Fair enough.
I think Dover would be great because one of the projects is in partnership with the city of Dover. So that would speak well to that, and we can find ways to engage diverse audiences in that project.
Yep.
I should say we've received letters from REDC, from the Southern Maine Planning and Development Commission, Portsmouth Chamber of Commerce. Thanks, Ben. I think that's it for right now for this group.
I think
BEA. Sorry, Teresa.
Exeter Chamber, I think, just came in the last couple of minutes. And it looks like that went to me, so I'm going to forward to both of you. I am not seeing other attachments on this thread, but I will do
I think
a
and
complete
Nancy
sweep of
Farmer
mine.
Nancy Carmer was working on one. And I think Darren, I don't know if Darren's on the call, but I think he was working on one as well.
Yeah, I'm working on one. Yep. Just got to get the debating whether the town manager or the select board chair is going to sign it.
Cool, thank you.
Karen and I talked at the beginning of the call, and I think we can expect one from Newington as well. That's similarly sort of working its way through signatures.
Count me in as well. But my question is, do you want it to come from Liz being the state director, or should it come from the Seacoast?
Makes no difference. Liz, as state director, would be fine. I'm also going to include a little description on the SBDC as part of the UNH assets as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other comments, questions, last minute thoughts or inspiration about this project? Or Mark, Charlie, anything else you need from us?
I just have a quick note. I don't know if folks know, because this kind of materialized in the last week, but the Gulf of Maine Research Institute, it has jumped on as one of our most recent partners. So that really pulls in the Maine contingent along with Southern Maine Development and Planning Commission.
That is still separate from the Gulf of Maine Council, right? Or is that like somewhat affiliated?
It's separate. No, they're not affiliated. The Research Institute is really, they have an entrepreneur ventures program, and they do a lot of work with sensor data. So those are two projects that they would probably intersect with.
Okay.
So they're more fisheries focused. So.
Cool. Jen and or UNH folks, do you need me to follow up with Merrimack Valley?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That would be great, because we really need those letters of support from the EDDs and the RPCs. And I don't know if Tim Roach is on the call, but we had talked about the Ps getting a letter of support, and Kim, I think, sent me a contact there. I didn't know if Kim had reached out to them or not, but
I have not, Charlie. So I
Okay.
can, if you'd like, if that's, it just wasn't on my radar, but I can do that.
yeah, if you know someone there, that would be great. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if not, I can. Yeah, I don't have any.
That was from the P. You want that from the Peace Development Authority?
Yeah.
I
Ideally.
think that would be helpful. Yeah, because we listed it as one of our assets. So.
Tim, do you want to reach out there? Or do you want me to do that?
I was going to go to Maria Stowell, who's my sort of contact there, but if you have a higher level contact, Ben, by all means, if you think it'd be more effective.
I can. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
thanks, Ben.
That'd be
Yeah, other than that, the only thing I would like to say is just thank you on behalf of Charlie and me for all of your conversations and your thoughts and letters, and we're all really hopeful. I've been really thankful for all the support we've gotten on this proposal. Not only just letters of support, but the governor provided a letter. We're currently working a letter from the congressional delegations of Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. So we're hopeful that we can get kind of a joint letter crossing all of those jurisdictions. Seems to be a lot of momentum that's building. So, ideally this thing gets funded and we continue to work forward. But I think even if it doesn't, we've laid a really good foundation that we can build off of, picking off some of these projects maybe along the way. So thank you.
Pleasure. That's what we're here for. All right. Hearing nothing else on this one. Anybody have anything else you want to bring up? we gonna have a pretty quick call today? Yeah, I think the one thing that we mentioned last week or the week before, now that we're sort of coming back out of this and shifting gears, if there are things that you'd like to spend a call talking about, 45 minutes or so, let me know. I have some ideas that I'm going to start putting into a calendar and see if we can line people up. So as we're thinking about late October and then getting into the holiday season, it's probably going to start to be more important to have those things planned out a little bit more in advance. Yeah, Warren.
I just want to remind everybody that it's getting to be the middle of October now, which means there are 2.5 short months left till the end of the year. Hard to believe we're heading into 2022. Maybe 2022 will be a better year. We're hoping, right? So anyway, my point is that EIDL expires. The increase, again, there is a significant increase available for low interest loans amortized for 30 years at 3.75% with no prepayment penalties. EIDL. That increase where businesses can go back and apply and for the most part get a significant increase, usually about quadruple a total loan value, quadruple what they originally got. And there are some metrics, there are some formulas that we use. That expires the end of December. I can't imagine there'll be any more relief, there'll be any more federal programs after that. So this is a last bite at the apple, but I advise businesses not to wait too much longer because their SBA is going to be backlogged. The loan has to be approved by December 31st. So any businesses any businesses in your community that have expressed an interest in that and don't understand the program, feel free to have them contact us. And just one more thing, you're talking about programming. The rest of the year, I think labor shortage is one of the 3 red flags around economic development in the state of New Hampshire. So I'd be happy if you're interested to talk about that. Give a 15-minute presentation at some point if you're interested.
Great. What you were saying about EIDL just made me think of an email that Robin copied me onto her businesses. She always likes to send out the reminder to businesses that are located in an ERZ around this time of year that if they plan to file that paperwork, it's due, I think, February 10th. But obviously it takes a little bit of time to pull together your payroll documentation or your documentation of the capital improvements that you made. So if your businesses that you work with could use a similar reminder, probably not a bad idea in the next couple of weeks as we start approaching the end of the year.
James, I can give you a state CEDAR update.
Oh yeah.
So Central Southern, which is Merrimack, Hillsborough, and Londonderry, Salem area, they had their regular scheduled meetings will be the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of each month. So our meeting for October, the first one for October is tomorrow. They meet from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. They're online this month. They may go back to hybrid, but they are beginning to meet and design their framework and begin talking about what their priorities are going to be. So what they're working on right now, what's bubbling up is issues around transportation, some infrastructure, of course, and then workforce. But I think they want to start to talk about the workforce is so broad, you could go 10 different ways. So I think they want some more clarity around what the state is doing in terms of workforce, the recruitment, the asset development, the talent pipeline work, so that then they can start to narrow down. Southwest Cedar is again meeting next week, and they're going to be discussing what their priority and kind of like what their Cedar is focusing on here and what it looks like. They're at framework spot or timeline, and right now it sounds like their biggest priority is workforce. So I think they're all in the same. Those two are in the same, broad, and then trying to funnel down to a top 3 or 5 priorities that they want to focus on. And North Country is just beginning to have the stakeholder discussions, like who's going to be engaged in the Cedar. So we're hoping that the North Country will be online before we get to the holidays. They should have their first meeting. So Cedar World, that's what's happening. And there is some really great work happening in our Office of Workforce Opportunities. So maybe down the line, Joe could come on and talk to you all about their talent pipeline development in the sectors and the kind of work that they're doing. So that's my Cedar update.
Okay.
You can.
All right. So something that Teresa and I have also talked about, the state does anticipate making some funding available to support the Cedars. I think they are thinking of it, Teresa, the word you described was seed money, as a little bit of here's just some no strings attached or minimal strings, just make it look good, kind of money that you can play around with and see if you can put together some pilot programs or how you might be able to use that to advance the priorities of your Cedar.
Yes.
So my understanding is we're talking about a statewide allocation of $200,000 that at least initially and conceptually would be divided equally among the 4 Cedars. So that's definitely something that we can talk about over the next couple of months, is what we might want to be able to do with some of that funding. And, I think where we've talked about a lot of issues that for the purpose of the Build Back Better application, we said we need to put that in the parking lot. This may be a time to look back at some of those parking lot issues and see if we can design a plan or a process or some sort of pilot proof of concept that might be able to make some progress on any of those other issues.
Yes, it's 50,000. We expect 50,000 per Cedar. It would have to be expended or utilized, and it's only seed money. We're hoping that we can show that leverage this to governor and council for more investment. So this is our test. We're going to prove that we can turn an ROI. So it's your ability to invest in different pilots, or could be data collection, could be mapping, could be something that the group says, hey, we want to take a deeper dive into this, whether it's housing or childcare, and we just need a little bit of money. But this group then decides, sure, we're going to put in a proposal to the state. It's a reimbursement based. One person does have to be the lead, fiscal to accept the money and do all that. But we are hoping that we will be able to begin accepting proposals from the Cedars that are launched by November. So yeah, it's perfect timing, James, to begin talking about, hey, do we want to look at this or that? And do we need data? Do we need, to pay somebody to do a summary or some type of reporting? It's kind of open-ended. But yeah, I'm excited because I think that it's a good seed money, and I fully expect that the Cedar will show that ROI 5-fold, and then governor and council will be happy to continue to invest in the Cedar as you work forward on supporting those statewide initiatives and programs. So I'm excited.
Warren, I see your hand.
Teresa, great, great background on that. So that that grant in November application is for $50,000 for each of the cedars. Is that what you said?
Right, you can put in multiple, you can do, hey, we're gonna do, you know, like an asset survey, or we're gonna survey the businesses. We want to survey our restaurants, our service industry, and, you know, we need 10,000. So you can go for the whole 50,000, or you can go for the 10,000 in a proposal, or whatever it is. Mhm.
And yeah, my other question is, there are 4 cedars you said. So the 2 regions that I think are not included is the Upper Valley and the Lakes region, because you had said Southwest, Merrimack Valley, Seacoast, and North.
Upper Valley is in Southwest,
Okay.
and Lakes region is considered part of the northern
Okay.
Cedar. Mhm.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
That's what the money has to be spent by 12/31/2022. So that's why these cedars will come on, and hopefully some of the later ones would have access to the money and utilize it. But so it was kind of arbitrary, 200,000 divided by 4. But that doesn't mean that if something you have that's the next step in a process, you can always propose, and if there's more money, we're always happy. If there's more money that's needed, we're always happy. I'm always happy to go and make the value pitch that the money needs to come. So,
Other comments, questions on Meta Cedar things, or any of that funding process? All right, anybody have anything else for the group before we go? Hearing none. Thank you all for your time this morning. Again, please let us know, or please send letters of support over if you're able. If you have any final questions about Build Back Better, you can find me via email, or Charlie, or Mark. Thank you, everybody.